All right, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Gakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the whole for the elect out there. You Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the pre-Shaman, this week's topic is going to be entitled Beat Clark Kent to an Extent. I ain't wanted to rhyme, but it ended up rhyming, so okay, cool. Look, we in the midst of the so-called holidays, and in the past I did a lesson, just say Christmas, right? I mean, just say Merry Christmas, or just say Happy Thanksgiving, right? And I'm still gonna stand by that because that's the wisdom that we were taught through the scriptures and the apostles, which is just to agree with the adversary quickly, right? Scriptures also say instead of a friend, be not an enemy, and we know what makes these people our enemy when we tell them the truth, right? Do I therefore become your enemy because I tell them the truth? So a lot of times it's best just to agree with these people in the world and be in Clark Kent mode, right? So Clark Kent is known for when he's in the Clark Kent, he's not at the Daily Planet with the Superman boots out or going to the Daily Planet with the cape. You either full Clark Kent or you full Superman mode, right? Superman mode is when you pretty much full on in this thing, this Israelite thing and on the highways and byways and you got your garment on, you full blown Superman mode. But when you go around in the world, you don't do that, right? Now, the reason I want to say is to an extent is because the inspiration for this lesson comes to the fact that I had someone close to me that know that I'm in the truth approach me about some type of secret Santa Christmas giving. I said, look, I'm not doing that. I mean, I'm not going to get in that spirit. And they're like, you know what? Nah, just don't call it Christmas, man. Let's just call it gift exchange. I said, look, I'm not gonna get into that spirit. Now that's why I said I want to do this thing, this lesson to be Superman to a certain extent. Meaning, we blend in this world, but we're not gonna get all up into their ideologies and all up into their philosophies, man, because that could taint you. All right, that's not what we're about. The best way I could compare it is to like, you might listen to gangster rap, right? Brothers listen to gangster rap or well, we're not gonna go out and act out those lyrics. You just recite those lyrics, but you're not gonna go ahead and act them out because now you borderline on some other shit. So without further ado, let's get into some scriptures to back up the statements that were made. This is Galatians 2:11. But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. Blamed for what? Well, the apostle is gonna go on to explain it. And by the way, man, the Apostle Paul was on some level, man. For you to go to the head and rebuke him, look, man, that's a man of the Lord. I mean, they both men of the Lord, but, the Most High was working with the Apostle Paul on a high level. Verse 12 says, For before that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision. Right, so he was doing some type of condoning some type of Gentile act. And again, these are the Israelite foreigners, meaning he was kicking around with the Greeks. Look, the scriptures don't outright say exactly what he was doing. Okay, but modern day analogy, right? You might be kicking it with your boys and they doing some shit that that is frowned upon the scriptures. You're kind of kicking them with too close, right? A prime example would be this situation I just gave you. If I was to be all up in some family get together under a Christmas tree exchanging gifts, the moment I see a brother out of front, I'd have been, well, you run away and shit, right? That's the same thing that's going on here. Whatever it was doing, the apostle Peter knew, like, man, brothers would be looking at him sideways, like, what the fuck you know what I'm saying? But certain of them didn't say nothing because he wasn't the only one. It says, and the other Jews dissembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation. So see, he wasn't the only one, So pretty much, look, we get that we gotta blend in with the world and all that, but we can't be taken to the extent that getting too caught up in these holidays that are circling around, man. All right. And out here in New York, in a lot of states, they taking away the goddamn holidays. They locking shit down. They locking things out. And look, people are starting to finally wake up. Like, wait a minute, wait a minute, the lockdown didn't work the first time. Why the hell are we doing it again? You know, and if it did work, then why the hell are we doing it again? So that whole holiday mirth spirit, look, man, that's getting thrown out the window. This Christmas ain't like how Christmas was 20 years ago, you know? 2020 and for the past couple of years, that whole holiday spirit has been sucked out of this land, man. Hey, but the Spirit said, put this thing together, this lesson together. It says, verse 14 now. But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Peter before them all. So he rebuked in front of, the apostle Peter in front of everybody. If thou being a Jew livest after the man of, if thou being a Jew livest after the man of the Gentiles, and not as do the Jews, why compellest thou the Gentiles to live as do the Jews? Right. So, and that's a good point, man. All right. So in other words, that's like me, trying to tell, those close to me, being Israelite, stop going after Christmas and all that. Next thing you know, I'm out here celebrating Christmas. And when I say celebrating Christmas, I'm talking about saying more than Merry Christmas. I'm talking about getting into that Christmas spirit and shit, man. In other words, being hypocritical. It says, we who are Jews by nature and not sinners of the Gentiles, knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, right? We're not made righteous through the works of our law, the law, even though the laws are righteous acts, pursuant to the book of Judges 5 and 11. It says, but by faith of Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, right? So our righteousness come by faith. Remember, the scripture says the just shall live by faith in Habakkuk. The just shall live by faith, as it says in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. And when you look up that word for just, it's the same word tazadak in the Hebrew, which means righteous. So we're made righteous through our faith in our Lord Yahweh Shai. Even we have believed in Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, that we might be justified by the faith of a Mashiach, and not by the works of the law, for by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. But yeah, that was pretty much a point going into, the Apostle Paul getting on Peter for doing something similar to what we discussed in the lesson, which is getting too caught up into these Gentiles' ways. The Israelite foreigners, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they've been discontinued from their heritage, and they pretty much grown up under the so-called Babylonian, the Babylonian American way of living and thinking, as we all were, So when you hang around them, of course they're going to try to push that shit on you. But, you play along, again, to an extent, Hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, have a good one, You're not going to break down everybody what Thanksgiving goes into and, the paganistic way of Christmas, them fastening the tree, as it says in the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter. We don't go into all that with everybody, man. Okay? So it's sort of like again, that balance. In 1 Corinthians 10, 8, and 4. Now, concerning Thanksgiving, right? Yeah, you could bust down some food. We always say you could bust down some food on Thanksgiving, But again, this is all to an extent. We're not celebrating Thanksgiving as the world is doing it. They putting up praise to Caesar. The whole time, you might just you just putting up praise, really curses on this place, but nobody's knowing. You just acting like you putting up praise with them. It says, 1 Corinthians 8 and 4, as concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, right? So they get all the food together and they chopping up the turkey onto some whatever they believe in. It says, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other than the Most High but one. Exactly. So we know there's no other power in the universe except Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. We understand this. It says, for though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or on earth, as there be gods many and lords many, right? But to us there is but one. So look, you might be with your woman, or you might be with a family member, and they all together, and and you don't got to be a lion there and say, look, what the hell are we doing? And get into the history of Gad, and there's a time and a purpose for everything. Ecclesiastes the 3rd chapter, and in that particular scenario, again, just Just go along with the get alongs. Sing the rap lyrics. Just don't act them out. Okay. But there's a certain limit again to it. You just eat the food and bounce. You don't get all up into that Thanksgiving spirit and shit, man. Just eat the food, you get the food, you bounce, man. They praying, you just put up some prayers and curses in your mind. The Lord knows your heart. Okay, it says, but if you if you're getting all up into that, I'm gonna raise a turkey and let me raise this turkey and I'm gonna chop the head off today on. You're getting all up into it. It says, but to us there is but one God, the Father of whom are all things, and we in Him, and one Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, by whom are all things and we by Him. Howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge, right? So every brother ain't gonna think that way, have that understanding. It says, for some with conscious of the idol unto this hour, eat it as a thing offered unto an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled. Right. So for that brother right there, if he can't get it, if that brother right there in that particular situation, if he's eating and offering onto an idol, then he's going off with that, man. It says, but meat commendeth us not to the Most High. Exactly. So if you bust down some turkey and some chicken, some beef burgers or whatever, you ain't gonna have burgers and things. Maybe, I don't know, mashed potatoes, and you eating all that has nothing to do with you and the Most High, man. You just busting down some food. Okay? You're not taking it to the point where you get into the whole spirit of that, You just seeing some food in front of your ass, you hungry, and that's it. It says, for neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worst. Right, so the Apostle Paul saying, if a man is conscious, if a brother is consciously eating and getting to the spirit of Thanksgiving, getting in the idolatry of Thanksgiving, then he's off. But if we both busting down some food, then ain't no difference between us, man. We just busting down some food. It says, but take heed, lest by any means that liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. Oh, and I want to say this too, man. Look, if somebody pull up to you, hey, I got you this gift. Hey, accept this shit and just be like, listen, I didn't have anything, They throwing something at you, hey, just take it. Hey, look, hey, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get you anything. I didn't know we was gonna give you any. I didn't know we were gonna give any of the gifts and like, you know what I'm saying? But in terms of again getting in all of this mirthy holiday spirit, and trust and believe, them demons are gonna pop up every time around this time of year, whether it be through those close to you or at the job or that shit's gonna happen. Be Clark Kent to an extent. It says, but take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak. Because right, it could be a stumbling block. It says, for if any man see thee which has knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the consciousness of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols? Right, so a brother that doesn't really get it, that could kind of throw him off. It says, and through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish for whom Yahweh Shah died. But when ye sin so against the brethren and wound their weak consciousness, ye sin against Yahweh Shai. So, hey man, look, certain brothers you don't do that around. You know what I'm saying? If a man doesn't want to partake into that Thanksgiving thing, you can't really knock him. If he sees it like that, if he doesn't really got the understanding on it like that. Wherefore, if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh. Right. So if the man is thinking that way, don't even try to again, offend them, you know. I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend. Again, so, I mean, that's, you know, again, if you know, you don't want to offend no brother, you know, in other words, look, brother, I don't want, you know, don't want you to get too much into that shit. Then you don't offend the man, you know. Um, this is 1 Corinthians 7:31. And they that has used this world as not abusing it. Right. So we do things in and out the world. That's the whole point of being in Clark Kent mode, man. So you could navigate through this world. You know, if you was on Israelite mode 24/7, you know, that's not what the Lord said to do. The Lord said to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. It says, for the fashion of this world passes away. So you're not going to get latched onto it, all right? But you're just going to navigate through this thing, man. Navigate through the world, navigate through these so-called holidays, all right? And the spirits and demons that come along with it, man. Well, none of these days are holy, okay? That's what the word holy goes back to. It goes back to a holy day. None of these days are holy. None of these days are in the scriptures, all right? Hey, but you just played a role. Ecclesiastes 2:24. Oh, let me drop that. Actually, let me drop that. Drop those Ecclesiastes. I'm gonna read this. John 7:7. The world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it that the works thereof are evil. Slakia. Pardon me, brothers. This is the one I want to close with. John 15:19. It says, if ye were of the world will love its own. And what are some of the things that are of the world? I just mentioned them, man. All right, these holidays and shit like that, and you know, just being super joined to this place and getting into the festivities of this place. You know, those are the things that are of the world. Those are the things that are of the rest of the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, man. Okay. We always say you can't be a super duper Israelite on Saturday and then a nigga, you know, 6 days out the week. Now, you know, there's a time to be a super duper Israelite and there's a time to turn it down a bit. Okay? It says, but because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. Yeah, so we're not like the rest of the nation of Israel, man. The Most High took us out the Most High separated us from the rest of the nation of Israel. So the rest of the nation of Israel is into a Gentile state of mind, following the ways and customs of these heathens. Right? The Most High yanked us out of that, man. It says, so I'm not going to be going around. I'm not going to go out and go chop down a tree and get a tree and wrap it with silver and yellow and shit like that. Look, man, that's going overboard, man. You know? It says, I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. So, you know, when you tell people, look, man, I don't really get up into too much. I don't really get up into birthdays and I don't get up into holidays and all that. They kind of give you a look at this thing, right? Because they're of this place. They're of that spirit. Their spirit is that of the world. You know, you don't want to club too much. You might go out, have a drink, might go out, have a good time, might link up with brothers, go out to a nice whatever, go out with your lady, you know. But damn, 24/7, you in a fucking strip joint, you know. Sabbath is coming around, you trying to time it perfectly so you could be in and out the strip club. Look, man, this is going overboard. Now that's being abusing. That's doing the things of the world. When the Lord told us we're not supposed to be joined to this place, man. You know. So look, I hope brothers were edified. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashim Makakodash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, True Well. And salutations to the whole elect out there, you Akim, Zadakim, that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.